Welcome to another episode of the State of the Bulldogs. It's Sam and Grant tonight. Grant, how are you? NCAA is out. Our summer interviews are out. It's been a good one. So how you doing?
Good. We're doing good. I said before we started, let's see if we remember how to do this. It's been a while since we actually talked with
Chill,
the microphone in front of us.
Only a few weeks.
Except for me, except for me, yeah. But yeah, as you said, EA college football is taking a lot of our time, obviously, as the rest of the world, as we were part of the 2.2 million who bought the deluxe version ahead of time early.
Yes, and I wasn't originally, as I was telling you.
Same.
I thought it was coming out Tuesday. I was like, I don't know. But when I found out it was coming out Monday afternoon, I'm sitting there at work. Monday, I'm like, yeah, that sucker's going to get downloaded today.
Yeah, I had the standard version ready to go for Friday. And then I saw all these texts. It's downloading. It's like, fine, screw it. We're going to download it so we can have it Monday. We get off work because they have 5:30 on a Monday instead of 5 o'clock on a Friday. We're like, yeah, we're firing this up early. Let's do this.
So what did you do first? What was your first game? What was it?
I think I just did play now just to see if I remember how to do it. I mean, I played obviously Madden a few times. Yeah, it did take a while. I'm pretty sure I lost my first two games. I was throwing interceptions all over the place. I think I was Oklahoma, played Alabama. I threw like 4 interceptions. Miller threw 2 touchdowns. And so I was like, oh yeah, we need to figure this out. As you scroll through Twitter, everybody's like relearning how to actually play this game. So yeah, I did play now first. What did you do first?
Play now. My brother and I played against each other, but quick. I mean, we played one game and then just went straight into Dynasty.
Yeah.
And for how similar it is to the old games, it certainly feels like it's just a completely different one. And it was a little disappointing that we have to resort to Team Builder to add Samford, but at least it's an option. We can't put Samford.
You can't
just straight up. We got to kind of play with it.
Yeah, it's copyrighted. You can't put Samford Bulldog, so that's copyrighted. But you can put Bulldog singular like Stanford Cardinal.
It's so silly.
So what I did was like, screw it. We're just gonna put Samford U Bulldogs, which for some reason it doesn't take it. So I was able to get my own. For some reason it let it happen, so I was able to create my own version. I said, screw it. We're going to teambuilder.com. We're gonna create our own. We're gonna start our own dynasty with Samford. So that's what I did.
So are you able to edit the player names on here?
You are, once you're in the dynasty itself, online on the Team Builder site, you can edit what they look like, their attributes, their height and weight, and things like that. But
that's
attributes. And then in the game, you can go, okay, this is what I want this guy to look like. If you have the time to go through a roster of 85, go, okay, this guy looks like Quincy Crittenden. We're gonna name him Quincy and go from there. But that would take a ton of work. And shout out to a couple of the other football guys who were like, can we download your Samford thing? Who reached out to me? I was like, I think so. Yeah, sure. If you have a PlayStation, you should be able to go online and check it out. But yeah. So yeah, I started my own dynasty with Samford. We beat UAB week 1, then we beat Florida week 2, and we're moving on to week 3. So yeah.
I love it. Got Florida on the schedule, UAB. Dang. This is kind of like a dream come true.
No, right. We start 2-0 if we just get to UAB. Yeah.
If you're on the podcast right now, you should hop over to the YouTube just to view this. Grant is showing the screen. And I mean, the jerseys look legit, Grant.
Yeah.
I mean, we look good. The red. Yes, the red helmet.
Yeah, imagine if we had an all red. This is one of my favorites with the old SCU block logo. You can kind of find those online and download. I like that one. And then the last one, basically I called the Jaquaski Tart jersey, basically the picture of him with that old clip art, basically classic. Gonzaga.
It's a classic.
Gonzaga Bulldog logo, yeah.
It looks crappy, but it's a classic. See, Jeb likes the SU. I'm not as big on the SU. I like the Bulldog. I like the script we used to have, the Bulldog script.
Yeah.
That looked good, but no, I mean, we're kind of we're reliving our childhood almost with NCAA out, waiting 11 frapping years for this 11. Bad boy. So it's funny. I mean, everybody was complaining. Reddit is just a toxic mess right now of complaints. And I'm just sitting here like, it's a fun game. It's giving me
I've had no issues.
I want. Yeah. There's some quirks that you got to work around, but like for the most part, I mean, it's good. It's good.
Yeah, other than like some minor team builder stuff that needs to be corrected. Other than that, I have no issues. I get a lot of texts like, having trouble playing this game. Figuring this out. Like, I'm having a grand time. I don't know what. what you're talking about, but still Twitter has been on fire the last week. Basically everyone posting their screenshots of like the different names that are generated out there, like a Nick Castellanos name out there, and there's some other names that they're not suitable for podcasts that are out there. You kind of see like, oh, this is kind of weird. So it is awesome seeing all the tweets and like the whole community like showing off what we've waited those 11 years for.
And it's perfect timing because look, it's football. I'm always pumped for football, but this whets the appetite almost like nothing else.
Yeah.
Talking season's fun. SEC Media Days last week. SoCon Media Days coming up next week. Like all of that is fun. And that's what usually gets me pumped. But then this, I mean, you're playing Samford, Florida, and you get the dub, right? Just makes you excited.
I took a screenshot. The dude on his knees praising the Lord that we beat Florida by 30. That's awesome. That's an awesome shot. Yeah. So I put us in the Conference USA. So we're in the same conference. We kicked out Jacksonville State. We don't need you. So we were at Jacksonville State spot. Yeah. So we're in the same conference as Kennesaw State. So I've got them coming up week 5. Got to go to their place. It's going to be a tough game, but we're ready for it. That's
amazing, dude.
That's what Coach Hatcher's got to do. He's got to find a way to get wins on the road. That's exactly what we're going to do after we play FCS East and Troy in the next couple of weeks. So week 5, actually, I think we have a bye week before Kennesaw State. So week 6, we'll be ready to go in that soccer stadium that they play football in.
All right. So what team did you replace in the game?
I replaced Jacksonville State. Yeah, I thought about replacing.
That's right. You just
Troy UAB, but yeah, Jack State was kind of like the base.
So who were so the one quirk I did not like is when you replace the team in the game, you inherit their rivals. Who were their rivals in the game?
That is a great question.
Any? Troy, maybe.
Troy did show. When I put a custom schedule, I put Troy in there, like a rivalry logo thing did pop up. So I want to say Troy is a rival of Jacksonville State. I can't think of a couple others right now, but
because that was one awesome thing about the past NCAAs is you could develop a rivalry. It might not have a trophy or a name, but over time one would just develop and it would show it as a rivalry game. I doubt it. I highly doubt that this game is that smart because it does a lot of really stupid things when it comes to the little extras like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, NCAA is out.
No.
It's I'm not even going to admit on air how many hours I've already sunk into it. Let's just say that almost a full work week.
Yeah.
And it's only been out for 5-6 days. So, yes, it'll be 7 tomorrow.
I feel empty. I haven't even played it at all today. I was in Atlanta checking out the Cardinals Cardinals and Braves game. I was riding back like, I haven't played the game at all today. What am I doing with myself? What are we doing?
Empty, dude. I know. It's so great. And we'll get back. We'll circle back to football. It's obviously we'll have a slew of preseason football episodes like we always do, breaking down offense, defense, all that jazz. But Grant, there's been a lot going on since we last got on here. It's only been a few weeks, but my goodness, the news never stops. Let's start with baseball. So baseball obviously just had MLB just had their All-Star break. And in that break, they had the MLB Draft, and we were fortunate to have 2 draft picks this year. Garret, Howe, Michael Ross, both signed. Grant, tell us about it.
Yeah, Garret Howe was a 11th round pick of the Guardians. As a senior, this was kind of pretty interesting. He got a full $150K signing bonus, which as a senior, normally obviously there's no incentive for the team to pay you more like 40 to 50K so for him to get the full bonus in that slot was kind of cool. As like with every draft pick, there's a certain amount of slot money that's tied to that pick. So teams can go over and under. And for those that don't know, each team has like a budget of however much money they have to give these players. So you can give, like a Michael Ross situation, who's drafted 18th round by the Twins. He needs a little bit more money to go in the draft instead of go transfer to Florida, which is where he was committed to out of the portal. So he was drafted by the Twins in the 18th round, and sure enough, he is not going to Florida. His number was met by Minnesota, so he's going to go be a member of the Twins organization, and he's not going to be starting for Kevin O'Sullivan down in Gainesville, which is kind of funny. If you go to Florida baseball fans are upset that he's not coming to them, obviously. So.
Grant, you warned them. You warned the Samford fans who were upset. How could he transfer?
Huh?
You told them this was exactly what he was doing.
We're going to be fine. It's all about the money. It's all about the money. Whatever offer you get is if you meet the price as Minnesota did, it's like, boom, okay, see you, Florida. We're not going. We're going straight to rookie ball in a couple weeks.
Exactly. And that's awesome for him. So super exciting. Two guys who we go back to the daydream, but if Michael Ross had been healthy 2 seasons ago, what could have been, regardless, drafted in the league. Hopefully he makes the climb. But we'll see.
And I haven't seen any other guys sign undrafted deals yet. So we'll see over the next week or so whether some guys like John Anderson circle through and get signed somewhere. So
briefly on the softball transfer front, we saw Mac Newcomb, one of our favorite pitchers. She committed to Southern Illinois. An interesting pick. I saw that they had just won the conference and made the NCAA regionals last season, so maybe there's some momentum building in that program. I also saw that she, in her commitment post, she had said the first place that felt like home. So maybe she had I'm assuming she had an existing relationship with the coach there from when she was being recruited in high school. But just an interesting, look, no offense to the state of Illinois, no offense, but I've driven through Southern Illinois. There ain't nothing there.
Nothing there.
You drive right on through and you don't look back. So look, I'm sure it's a great college experience, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Just interesting. We were kind of hoping SEC. Obviously, no one took the bait. She was a top 10 pitcher in the portal, according to this one website that looks at softball portal rankings or whatever. So take that for what it is. I can't even remember the site off the top of my head.
I actually found it right. Now.
Thank you.
CSE softball, where they use I think it's the data analytics stuff that softball uses. I want to say that's what that is. So
interesting. Okay, well there you go. So Mac is headed to be a Saluki.
That's right.
Yeah. We'll move on from there. One disappointing thing. So in this draft season, one disappointing thing, Grant, is Michael Hires undrafted in the UFL draft this past weekend. Slightly disappointing. Who did the Stallions pick? Who was that scrub?
The quarterback that took Sam Hartman with maybe the best hair. Maybe the best hair in all of America, but Sam Hartman.
He does have good hair.
He does. Yeah.
Good looking guy. Guy. Terrible looking arm. If he sees the field, the Stallions are not winning.
And the weird thing with the UFL draft is you still guys that went undrafted in the NFL draft were still eligible to be picked, and you hold their rights until December. So if they stick with the roster or practice squad, you lose their rights up until a certain date in December. So you could see a lot of those guys. Well, I saw Cody Schrader, running back from Missouri. He was picked, but he's an undrafted guy. Signed with I can't remember who he did.
Interesting.
Sign with, but still there's still a chance for more roster spots to be open with all those guys maybe sticking on to practice squads. I want to say it's December 31st maybe that the UFL teams hold their rights before they're released to, out in the ether. So there is still a chance that he could end up in Birmingham somewhere.
Disappointing. It was exciting when he signed with Tampa in the rookie camp. What was that? 2 months ago around ish. That was exciting. Obviously did not pan out there. And then didn't get picked in the UFL. We'll see what happens. But yeah, just kind of disappointing. Had such a great 2022 season, a fine 2023 season, and was invited to the Manning passing camp, was on the big board of the NFL draft for Pete's sakes. He was, Mel Kiper's 8th or 7th best available in the 3rd round or something. Not
something like that.
Not terribly high, but he was there. His name was on ESPN.
Yeah.
So yeah, that kind of sucks.
Yeah, you got to think a little bit of the injury. The shoulder he was working through in 23 kind of hindered him. Obviously, we saw in his play on the field a little bit that he battled through. Maybe that was another reason why he wasn't selected.
He's small. Yeah. He's not fast. So, look, we get it, but it's also why can't he get a shot?
Yeah, take a chance. Yeah.
All right. So that's most of the news. Well, okay. Grant, I was going to say this at the end, but let's get all the news out of the way. Recently, baseball signed 7 guys, and we have a pretty good hit rate on our recruits. I'll run down the names right here. So we got Jeffrey Ince from Pearl River Community College, Austin. This is actually, Grant, as I go through this is a dangerous mission I'm on.
These
first few names, I'm I don't know.
Yeah, I'm just sitting back. I'm going to let you figure this out. Then I'll sit back and watch and see if I can find maybe in the leading hand.
Pear River Community College, same college.
Yeah,
Joseph Lee, Ranger
that's an easy
Community
one.
College out of Texas.
Yeah, that's an easy one. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Joseph.
Yeah.
Drew Drunkenmiller, that's a name right there. Southern Miss, pretty sure he's a pitcher. Michael Gupton, NC State Gulf Coast Community College via NC State. And Cameron Keshik, Auburn transfer. Bodie Vale.
Keshak's sister used to play volleyball at Samford. She transferred to Alabama this offseason. So
very interesting.
A little trade.
Man, they're hitting all the Alabama schools.
Yeah.
Bodie Vale, Shelton State Community College, and Josh Learson from Birmingham Southern. So, and it lists this guy just Higgins. Doesn't give me a first name, just says Higgins, who is also from Birmingham Southern. But some pretty interesting guys. The few that I was reading through the press release that stuck out were Drunkenmiller, the Southern Miss pitcher, who spent 2 seasons at Jones Community College. He's 6'3", 210, and just it sounds like a power pitcher. So that should be a fun guy to watch. And then I will say the 2 years in JUCO a little concerning, right? We don't know if there's injuries. We don't know what's going on there, but you don't love to see 2 years of JUCO. But I do like the Southern Miss because Southern Miss usually doesn't miss. And so there's something there. The other guy that popped out was Bodie Vale. So kind of on the trend of we like guys from winning teams. Bodie was a pitcher, went 8-3 on the season, 80 innings, struck out 61. He was a pitcher for Shelton State who went to the Junior College World Series. So a leading pitcher on a winning team, right?
Yep.
That's usually a pretty good combination. And then there was one guy in here who they coined one of the fastest guys in the country. We'll see. Gupton. He was the NC State kid. So he spent last season at Gulf Coast Community College, coming from NC State. Only hit 286, but he stole 16 bases. I don't know if that's a lot. I have not done any research, so who knows? But fastest guy, one of the fastest guys in America, Grant, coming to Samford.
Yeah, I want to say I saw that tweet somewhere. Like his sprint speed was one of the highest. Here we go. On the scouting scale, the 20 to 80 scouting scale that baseball scouts use to look at guys for draft and things like that. He was an 80 grade speed, so that's like the highest grade speed you can get on that scale that baseball scouts like to use. So we'll see what that looks like on the field and in the outfield. But that is an 80 grade speed, which is the highest you can get on that 20 to 80 scale.
Interesting. Okay, so there's a little data to back that up.
He ran a 5.96 60-yard dash is what he ran. So
5.9 60.
5.9 60.
Do the math there. What is 2/3 of 5.9?
Yeah, I'm gonna let you do that one.
I'm not gonna do that. I mean, that's a sub 5. Yeah, it's 4 something.
It's fast.
But we're not Wofford. Like,
you go fast.
We're not Wofford. So it'll be fun to watch, but I'm not counting on that guy to do anything crazy. He only batted 286. Maybe he's a good pinch runner. Maybe he's going to win. Maybe he's going to get the SoCon winning run in Greenville when we pinch him in to run on second, and he runs all the way home like Ellie De La Cruz, the best baseball player in the world. So
if that didn't cover a lot of ground too in the outfield, so yeah, it helps.
Yeah, that's fair. It matters on defense for sure. Good point. All right, let's get to football. We've run through all the news. We're 20 minutes in. We've run through all the news. NCAA, we got to talk about that. But SoCon Media Day is coming up next week. We will not be there. We went last year. It was fun, but I'm not going to say it's entirely worth it for this reason. They don't do an open mic session where every coach just gets up there and is asked questions. Yep. Instead, they do the classic stupid basketball one where that one guy sits down and discusses his questions with the coach and the 2 player reps. The catch, Grant, is you can't hear them in the room. It's purely meant for the broadcast. Yeah, so we're just going to watch it. It's
basically just like 10-minute segments, ESPN Plus. Okay, here's Chris Hatcher. Here's another coach, and basically we'll go to commercial, come back, and
which which is fine for what it is. But the fact that you can't even hear it in the room in Greenville just kind of takes away from any reason why we should go.
And do they have like breakout sessions too? Like they would like a coach, like a pool of like reporters maybe around, maybe kind of something like that?
Yeah, so it's kind of fun. And Jeb and I had a blast last year. So what they do is they have an open room and have tables at each in the room for each team. And when they don't have a local press appointment, they're supposed to go just stand at that table and hang out and let people come and ask them questions. So you have some YouTube content creators in there who will shoot some videos and pull some guys over. You had guys like us who would just go around each table talking to the coaches. That's fine, right? That's fun. But we're going to be honest, we're not professionals. We don't have the best questions. So again, outside of the fun of it, not a huge incentive for us to go. Maybe if they ever come out with a format similar to SEC or pretty much any real conference like that, then we'll go. Until that point, nah.
Yeah, I did see Sam Herder at Sam Herder FCS on Twitter. He's the FCS analyst for Hero Sports. Yeah, he did say that he will be at me today, so you can go follow him and maybe he can get some more insight of stuff like that. And since you're not going to be there, you can't fall in love with another coach like you did Rocco down at VMI last year. So
still love Rocco. 100% true, Grant. Will not be falling for another snake oil salesman like the Wofford coach. My goodness. Jeb and I thought he was going to win Coach of the Year for Pete's sakes. Rocco ended up being legit. I can't remember that guy's name. He did not end up being legit.
Can't wait to hear what Maurice Drayton for Citadel has to say this year after he had that statement he said last year at his own school media days. Got to be honest, we're not very good right now.
That dude was not. No. Yeah. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see.
I'm really curious when we start digging into the preseason a little bit who Citadel might have brought in the transfer portal. Hard to say. But one thing, let's talk about the football schedule itself, because that was one thing last year that I thought was really holding us back, or not holding us back, but made this season a challenge. I mean, we were 6-4, 6-5 last year.
6-5, yeah.
6-5. And as we always say, FCS is competitive. There were 3 games in there that if a couple of different plays had gone our way, we would have won. Surprisingly, Western was one of them. You go back and you watch that game, and we don't have that fumble in the third quarter, and we don't have – there was a called back touchdown in that game. Those 2 things don't happen, and it's a completely different ballgame. So we'll expect a lot of close games this year, but from just a pure scheduling standpoint, Grant, it lines up so much more favorably.
Yeah, we talked about the conference slate. Your first game's at Furman. That's going to be tough. But still, your only other road trips are ETSU, Citadel, and who knows what Chattanooga is going to look like. You do get Western Carolina at the end of the year at home, the November 23rd, who will be a top 20 team coming into the year with Cole Gonzalez coming back at quarterback for them. So still, there's some other games that there's some other games that are sandwiched in between that hard road trip. Like Furman, we get a bye week, and then Alabama State at home before that at 6:00 at night games. Since we don't get a Thursday night game, that Alabama State game, September 14th, is going to be at 6 p.m. since Alabama plays at Wisconsin on Big Noon kickoff at 11 a.m. So we don't have to worry about going off against another Alabama team. I think Auburn plays New Mexico, but again, that's New Mexico. Who cares? So yeah, the schedule does set up a little bit nicer than it did last year.
It was a tight one last year, but Grant, exactly. Alabama State off week and then Furman. If you're going to go to Furman, who will probably be one of the most touted teams coming into the season, that's the best recipe you could ask for. And then the very next week we get VMI, who's going to be good. They're going to be like, if we believe in Rocco, VMI is going to be good, but it's at home, and they're going to have that long bus ride. So again, the first 2 conference games, very winnable. And then we go to ETSU. ETSU is in turmoil. That should be a dub. You can't count on anything, but of all the games on this schedule, ETSU and Citadel are the only ones that you can expect to win. The others, look, everybody's pretty competitive when it comes down to it. But then we get Mercer that next week, right? So we go at Furman, VMI back at home, on the road against a weak ETSU team. And then Mercer's coming in, first-year head coach. They're going to have talent, always have skill talent. Probably not going to be that great, right? Probably not. Maybe they hired the up-and-coming Nick Saban. We don't know. But odds are not in their favor. And then Citadel. So you have a 3-game stretch there where even if you lose one to VMI or Furman, you got 3 weeks to get it right. That is a blessing.
Yeah, say you lose to Furman, and then again, you got that VMI again at home. Go to Johnson City, host Mercer at Citadel, and then you've beaten Wofford 20,000 times in a row. So again, you still got that stretch. If you, let's say, lose to Furman, you pick off ETSU, you still got that nice stretch of Mercer, Citadel, and Wofford, which are 3 games that you should win. What we see coming into the year, like we said, at Citadel, who's going to be near the bottom of the pack, and then Wofford, like we mentioned.
Yeah, this season, this schedule is giving us every opportunity to be primed for November because November's tough. Now, Tennessee Tech should not be a tough game. We don't know what that team will look like yet. But usually, their past few seasons have been very up and down. Mm-hmm. Let's put it that way. But the last 2 games, I mean, the hardest, look, there's no doubt about it. These last 2 games are tough. But it is a great, 6 or 7 weeks leading up to this?
Yeah. That, and we play 12 games this year instead of 11. So I think FCS teams can now play 1 extra game. So since we got the bye game at Florida, we're able to get another FCS game. So we play 12 games this year instead of 11. The bye week will be, like we said, that'll be after Alabama State. Yeah, September 21st will be the bye week. And then again, you go on a stretch where you don't have a bye week until the end of the year. So
you think Western's going to be number 1 in the SoCon media poll?
I think so, just with what they return on offense. I think they did lose some guys who transferred over to Pitt, like their former OC.
That's right.
Is now the OC at Pitt over there under Pat Narduzzi. So
I don't know what that means for Pitt.
I don't know.
I mean, Western was okay. Let's not act like they were that good. They snuck their way through the SoCon, and they didn't even make the playoffs. So.
Yeah, and with the schedule, we have kickoff times for every game. So if you want to go to samfordsports.com, check out football, and go look at the game times. Again, at West Georgia, 5 p.m. Central Time. The Florida game is a night game, which is pretty sick. I mentioned like a month ago that the Florida schedule, one of the toughest in the country. They're only guaranteed 2 night games, and one of those games is Samford. I just thought that was pretty funny on their part with the Murderers Row of a schedule they have. Then you host Alabama State. That's a 6 p.m. Saturday, like I mentioned. And then all the other times are the usual 1 to 2 to 2:30. You can go check on Samford's website, which we posted this week. So,
I mean, Grant, look, we have not dug into – we don't even know who our starting quarterback is. What? That's not going to stop me from predicting a record right now. I'm looking at this schedule. I see a win at West Georgia. I see a win. I'm not counting the Florida game. I see a win against Alabama State.
What? I just beat Florida and EA. You don't think we could beat them?
I see a win. I see us dropping one of the 2 to Furman VMI. I see a win against ETSU. I see the same thing, Mercer, Wofford. One of those is probably going to be an L. But one of them would be a win. Citadel will be a win. Tennessee Tech is going to be a win. I see us losing 3 games. And then Chattanooga Western toss-up coin flip. I see us losing 3 games. I think there's a chance, depending on what those 3 losses are, we make the playoff with 3 losses.
Yeah.
But there's a good chance we only have 2. I mean, I could be underestimating our team. I could be overestimating our team. But just based on what we saw last year, the trajectories of several of these teams, and then the unknown potential of our team, who returns a good amount of key positions.
Yeah.
I think it should shake up favorably. But like we say, every SoCon game, song -2, is a coin flip.
Yeah, like I said, the roster is now posted online. If you're looking for that last few weeks, that's posted online for Media Day. So, yeah, we don't be a new quarterback, new starting running back with Jay Stanton gone, Chandler Smith gone to receiver. But, yeah, Brandon Jenkins coming back, who switched numbers from 84 to 12. If you want to watch out for that when you step off the field against West Georgia, DJ Rice, who's going to media days with Noah Barton at linebacker. You've got returners on the line. Like you said, on the defense, new defensive coordinator Adam Braithwaite from Tennessee Tech, who gets to play his former team. But still, you got Josh
And
Mathias.
UTC.
And UTC. There you go. Yeah, he was a DC at UTC before Tech, too. So, yeah, you've got senior leaders on defense coming back, too, with a couple holes filled in via the portal, whether that's –
I mean, most of our
it's mainly the secondary group where most of the portal guys, and then a few D-line guys as well. But
it will, like, going through that roster, it was interesting, Grant, seeing just how many guys were returning. I didn't realize that. I mean, almost the entire offensive line is coming back, and then almost the entire defensive line is coming back. The linebacker core is coming back. The secondary, several corners, and then what's our freshman safety? CJ Douglas.
There you go.
CJ Douglas.
Yeah, sophomore. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, now, yeah. So there's a lot of good guys that you hope that they take a step, and if they do in fact take a step. Now, granted, the interviews that we've had so far, off of the record, we've asked the guys what they think, and it is, let me tell you, it's the same thing every year. We're going to be so good. These guys, this team's really coming together, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
The team did not come together last year. We could see night and day the difference in 22 and 23 when the team just didn't gel. They didn't have that it factor when it came to late game situations, and we folded, is what it is. By the end of the season, we found it too little too late. This season, we're hearing the same thing. Who's to say? Who's to say? A lot of it's going to depend on the quarterback. I mean, look, we're all kind of cheering for Quincy. If we just because we don't really know Nick unless you watch the Netflix special from him in high school 7 years ago or whatever.
Yeah,
it was.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, Spencer Rattler drafted. Yeah, and he's got exactly. There in college. Yeah,
and then we talked about Mac Howard, but that remains to be seen. So kind of seems like it all comes down to with all the returning talent, might all be for naught if we don't get the quarterback right. Is that oversimplified?
I don't think so. Like we mentioned, those leaders on both lines, and then linebacker Jaden Mosley coming back for another year. No Martin, as we said, All-American back for another year. I don't think it's out of the question, but still, it's just a matter of what kind of production. Again, do you get at a QB spot, and how well does the line protect him, and have they improved in that aspect in pass pro from last year to this year?
So the line is a fair. Of all the position groups that I would bet did not take a step forward necessary or large enough necessary to be a difference maker is probably the O-line, because we lost Jabari Brooks. UCF.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Jamie Motley-Simmons, huge body. I think he's still uncommitted in the portal. I think he had some offers from some similar Samford level schools like EKU and stuff like that, but lost him. And so while we have three good guys coming back, we don't know who. There's some guys that I'm not going to name that we don't necessarily want to see out there that might very well be starting.
Yeah.
So the O-line is another large question mark, but defensively, I'm feeling good.
Yeah. Yeah, on the O-line, there is some experience in that room, just a matter of how old they are. Like you said, Luke Byrne, who we talked to over the summer, a grad guy, Chris Noble, another guy, a grad guy, Darian King.
Not worried about those guys.
Yeah, Darian King, Zach Bond Sr., Zach Brown, another senior who struggled a little bit last year. So again, you still got some guys that are a little bit older. Maybe they've improved the last couple of years. So you do have some like senior leaders in that room where you could say, okay, guys, we need this is what we failed at last year. It's what we're going to do this year. But again, you go to the defense. I think, although it is a new DC with Chris Boone going over to be the linebackers coach at Troy, Adam Braithwaite coming in, his teams over the past 3 years, I would have to go back and look at the numbers. We've talked about it before, but how well they are getting after the quarterback. That's one thing that Samford struggled a little bit last year too, playing a lot of 3-man down, not really generating pressure. So maybe they play a little bit more 4-down linemen, get some pressure off the linebacker, stuff like that. So again, even with a new DC, there are still a lot of pieces to be excited about on that defense, like we mentioned with Mosley and Martin, especially in that linebacking core.
Yeah, it will be interesting. It is going to be, we assume it's going to be a 4-man front. Take a little bit of pressure off of our linebacking core. but it's still going to take guys like Johnny Johnson, right, who's returning, who's going to have to be a consistent contributor. He's a contributor. Like, he would show flashes of being really good, but he's going to have to do it down in, down out. There's going to have to be some new faces. Who was the guy? I can't remember the guy we lost to Buffalo. He entered the portal. He was an outside linebacker, would have played edge in this system. Yeah. Honestly, if he had stuck it out, Braithwaite's probably would have been a great coach for him. Oh, man, I'm blanking on his name, though.
Yeah, I am too.
But he was tall, lean, and fast.
Yeah, you go through the D-line, Josh Mathiasen, who we talked over the summer, 6'2", 325. Nazir Sy, transfer from Northwestern State, 6'3", 300.
Hopefully a dog.
Yeah, didn't get to play a lot last year due to other circumstances with Northwestern State and like the football program itself. So we'll see. He should be fresh. He's obviously only played 3 or 4 games last year, but you still got some size on the D-line. Maxton Woodard's coming back. He's 6'2", 336. Makai Gilbert, 6'3", 290.
Makai, dude, he's gonna be nice
for Phoenix City. So you do have some more guys you brought in. Is David Nurse, a transfer from Maine, 6'3", 205. So you got some size in that room. It's just a matter of, again, how well they come together.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. And last year we started off with Shorter, okay? This year we're starting off with West Georgia. Not a huge leap there in terms of who we're starting out with. So we're really not even going to know. And Florida, as Coach Hatcher's philosophy is not going to be changed this year. It's still, let's get to the Florida game. It's going to be base. We're not going to show conference foes anything special. We're still going to compete. I mean, we got athletes, but we're not going to go out there and try to throw a bunch of trick plays and get a bunch of gadgets going to try to get some points that inevitably really don't even matter. So we're still not going to know much.
We will cover the spread in those games. Samford has done really well at covering those spreads against FBS.
Baby. Even if Georgia was a charity spread for us, cover for us, we will take it. Thank you, Kirby.
Yeah, you've covered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You're 6-1 covering the spread. Going back to 2016 when you're playing FBS teams. You covered against Auburn last year, Georgia, like you said, Florida, that wild game, 70-52. Not Auburn 2019 with the rain. FSU again.
If Florida's as bad as they all say they're going to be, with the schedule, disregard the schedule.
Yeah,
like they have some DJ Lagway, that freshman quarterback's a stud.
Yeah,
but Graham Mertz is not. Now we didn't think that Auburn quarterback was going to be any good, and he wasn't for the first half. He wasn't.
Yeah.
But he came alive, obviously, in that second half.
It is funny going through these spreads. 2013, I was at that game with my brother at Arkansas. They played at War Memorial, Little Rock. We were leading going to the fourth quarter where Arkansas back Alex Collins, that freshman who tragically passed away like a year ago, whatever. He was awesome and ran for like 130. You go to 2014, didn't cover that one because I was Trayvon Boykin's second year at TCU. You didn't cover 2015 Louisville because you played some freshman quarterback named Lamar Jackson. I heard he's kind of pretty good. So it is kind of funny going through those and seeing the guys we didn't cover against those transcendent players. Basically. But freaks. Yeah, that's the way to put it. Yeah,
Boykin just got derailed. That dude was so good. He lit up Ole Miss.
Yeah.
But anyway,
yeah.
The Florida game, we're not going to know anything, and then we're going to kind of. Let's see. Well, who's that next game, Grant?
That is Alabama.
Yeah, we're still not going to know anything. We're still not going to know anything potentially. And then we get our probably hardest game on the schedule after. So buckle your seatbelts, folks, because it's going to be. If we're 2-1 heading into Furman, don't think that we're all of a sudden going to be good because we're really not going to know until Furman. Furman's going to be the test.
Yeah, exactly.
If we get by Furman, the sky is the limit for this team. And if we don't, still plenty of playoff spot to play for, but that's the truth-telling game, so to speak.
Yeah, and West Georgia, that opener, it's their first game in the FCS after coming up from D2, so they'll be fired up, obviously ready to go for that one. Just don't know what that roster is going to look like.
With that said, if we do lose to West Georgia, you can unbuckle your seatbelt, folks, because we know where this ride ends, and it ain't going anywhere. So,
yep.
No pressure, though.
Yeah, good. Hey, if you lose to West Georgia, good luck, guys. Yeah,
the first game. Yeah. There are a few teams out there in college football history who have lost a giant upset in the first game. and have gone on for great things. Those are few and far between. Usually, if you drop the first one you're supposed to win, it ain't going to be a good season.
Shout out to Michigan losing to App State back in the day, right?
Wasn't a good season. But yeah,
Yeah.
the schedule certainly shakes up more favorably than last year. I mean, last year was terrible.
Yeah.
Absolutely terrible.
And we'll see if we learn anything at all from the media days coming out this week, whatever we can.
I mean, yeah, we probably
try to get
everybody gasses their team up. It's like, oh yeah, even Citadel. Oh, well, actually, that's the only one that doesn't gas them up.
Yeah, right. Yeah, everybody
else like that. Wait.
Yeah. Not everybody, Sam. Not everybody.
Dude, I'll never forget going up to that Western Carolina tackle who was, I don't know if he made it to the NFL. He might have signed as an undrafted free agent to the NFL. Hopefully, he's not returning. He was the largest human being I've ever stood next to. I think he was 6'7". He was like 6'7", 310 pounds. He was lean. Grant, he was lean. If you're,
did you say D tackle?
No, offensive tackle.
Okay, I was about to say.
Yeah, it was nuts.
He's I looked it up. He's a transfer from North Carolina. He's still there, 6'7".
Oh no, he's still there, Grant.
Well, they have 3 linemen. Oh, wait, sorry. That was a quarterback. Never mind. Wow. Good Lord. They have a backup quarterback from North Carolina, 6'7", 235.
They got a 6'7" backup.
Yeah, 6'7". But the guy you're talking about, Derek Simmons, 6'6", 315, senior from Abilene Christian. Yeah, 315 is the size of that guy you talked to, probably.
Casual.
Yeah, they casually have a 6'7" quarterback now looking at this. So
that's huge, dude.
That's crazy.
All right. Anything else, Grant? We'll dive way deeper into preseason football as we get closer to the season. But anything else you wanted to add?
Not really. We did miss Samford basketball. Did finish their roster with Hamed Olienko the last month or so before we talked about it. They filled that last roster spot. A 6'9" forward from Utah Tech. Didn't play a whole lot, but was one of the best shot blockers in the country. If he played as many minutes as Zach Edey did, he would have the same amount or more blocks than he did. So good rim protector, super athletic. He only averaged 12 or 13 minutes a game, but again,
that is such an arbitrary stat, Grant.
No, I'm serious.
Come on, no. That is. Yeah, I believe you, but
I need to find it.
You can't be comparing anybody to Zach Edey over here.
Oh, well, somebody did in this tweet. I was like, this is awesome. I'm going to use this, act like he's the best player alive. So, yeah, we'll see how it shakes out. Just another addition to Samford's front court that they needed to finally fill out that roster spot, and we can all rest about what portal guys they were looking after and whatnot. So,
yeah,
that's it. I think that's it.
Disposal goes off in the background. But, yeah, granted, it's good to – 2025 or 2024 season is upon us. It's good to get going. Football is coming. And for 90% of our listeners who only care about basketball, it's coming as well. With that, the state of the Bulldogs is out. We will catch you all next week. Preseason football on the way.